Assalamu alaikum and thank you for joining us. Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Kakar led the Pakistan delegation at the Joint Arab-Islamic Extraordinary Summit held on 11th of November in Riyadh. The summit was convened to address the inhumane Israeli aggression and the dire humanitarian situation in occupied Palestine. The Prime Minister held meetings with Arab and Islamic leaders participating in the conference, including the Crown Prince of Kuwait, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, and the President of Palestine, and discussed the ongoing ruthless war on the people of Palestine. In his speech at the summit, Prime Minister Kakar addressed the grave violations of international humanitarian and human rights law and the war crimes and crimes against humanity being committed by the Israeli occupation forces. He urged the international community to hold Israel accountable for its crimes and emphasized the urgency of a ceasefire, the lifting of the siege of Gaza, and unimpeded humanitarian aid. The Prime Minister reaffirmed Pakistan's unwavering solidarity with the Palestinian people and their right to self-determination. He also emphasized the critical need for establishing a secure and sovereign Palestine state based on pre-June 1967 borders with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital. Pakistan welcomes the joint declaration of the summit that urged the United Nations Security Council to enforce UN resolutions against Israel, its demand for ceasing export of weapons to occupying force, and its call for international criminal court's investigation into Israeli crimes. Pakistan condemns repeated Israeli attacks on the premises and personnel of UNRWA and other humanitarian agencies, including the headquarters of the Qatari Committee for the Reconstruction of Gaza. We join the UN in paying homage to UNRWA workers and the many humanitarian agencies who lost their lives in Gaza and appreciate their steadfast dedication to the people in need. Pakistan also condemns Israel's wars on hospitals in Gaza, as hospital after hospital is being targeted by the occupation forces in complete disregard of international law. We are appalled by Israeli incursion in Al-Shifa Hospital, placing patients, medical staff, and civilians at risk. We join the international community to hold Israeli occupation accountable for its attacks against hospitals. Israel must also be held accountable for deliberately targeting mosques, churches, and schools, sheltering civilians who have rendered homeless because of Israel's destruction of their homes. By decimating civilian infrastructure and symbols of self-governance, including the Legislative Council, Israel is deliberately making Gaza uninhabitable for its civilian population. Backers of Israel must stop Israel from implementing its plans for ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. As demanded by the Joint Arab-Islamic Summit, all countries must also stop exporting weapons and ammunition to the occupation authorities that are used by their military and settlers to kill Palestinian people and destroy their homes, property, and civilian infrastructure. We once again urge the international community to act swiftly, collectively, and meaningfully to stop the ongoing aggression by the Israeli occupation forces and hold Israel accountable for the war crimes being perpetrated in occupied Palestine. Earlier this week, Deputy Prime Minister of Uzbekistan and acting Afghan Minister for Industry and Commerce, Nuruddin Azizi visited Pakistan for the first Pakistan, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan trilateral meeting on commerce, held on 14th of November. The Pakistan side was led by Federal Minister for Commerce and Industries and Production. The discussion centered on promotion of trade relations by addressing trade barriers, streamlining customs procedures, and facilitating cross-border and transit trade. The ministers explored investment opportunities across sectors, promoting joint ventures, public-private partnerships, and enhanced foreign direct investment. They also deliberated on measures to improve transportation networks and infrastructure development to facilitate the movement of goods. Commerce Minister Gohar Ejaz expressed optimism that the trilateral cooperation would spur economic growth in all three countries. While in Islamabad, Deputy Prime Minister of Uzbekistan met with Prime Minister Anwar Kakar, the Minister for Commerce and Industries, Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs, Minister for Communications and Railways, Minister for Planning and Development, and Minister for National Food Security and Research. The focus of these meetings was to expand bilateral cooperation in trade, connectivity, agriculture, transport, and defense. During his visit, the acting Afghan Minister for Industries and Commerce held a courtesy meeting with Foreign Minister Jalil Abbas Jilani. The Foreign Minister reiterated Pakistan's strong commitment to bolstering ties with Afghanistan and highlighted the potential of enhanced trade and connectivity for regional integration. Stressing the integral connection between security and development, Foreign Minister Jilani called for concrete action by Afghanistan against terrorist groups, particularly the TTP. He also expressed Pakistan's readiness to collaborate with interim Afghan government to this end. The Foreign Minister reaffirmed Pakistan's commitment to addressing issues between Pakistan and Afghanistan through constructive engagement and dialogue. Yesterday, Pakistan was re-elected to the Executive Board of UNESCO for the term 2023 to 2027. Pakistan's re-election and readiness to contribute in the Executive Board is a testament to its long-standing support for and constructive role at the United Nations. As a member of the Executive Board, Pakistan will work for strengthening UNESCO's mandate and contribute to policy making, development of norms, advancement of global priorities, and effective oversight of programs and activities of the organization. As an ardent advocate of multilateralism, Pakistan will endeavor to build bridges across regions and forging consensus on key issues for tangible outcomes and impact on ground. The occupation authorities in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir have been systematically dispossessing Kashmiris of their lands. India is engaged in an unrelenting campaign to seal and seize the properties belonging to human rights defenders and political activists. This week, the Indian authorities again seized several properties in Pulwama district of IIOJK, invoking a counter-terrorism law. The seizure of properties is a cruel means of crushing dissent and persecuting human rights defenders. This practice and the brutal Indian occupation that it facilitates must end. Measures must also be taken to implement UNSC resolutions on the Kashmir dispute. Pakistan will continue to extend political, diplomatic, and moral support to our Kashmiri brothers and sisters for the just and peaceful settlement of the Jammu and Kashmir dispute in accordance with UN Security Council resolutions. The 10th meeting of Pakistan-Russia Joint Working Group to counter international terrorism and other security challenges is being held today in Islamabad. Additional Foreign Secretary, United Nations, Ambassador Syed Haider Shah is leading Pakistan's multi-agency delegation, while the Russian delegation is led by Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Vershinin. The two sides will share respective assessment of threat of terrorism at regional and global levels. The talks will also focus on Pakistan-Russia counterterrorism cooperation. I thank you.